Just thought I'd go ahead and do this second video for you guys, talking about the real estate stuff like I was talking about. But what I was going to do was catch a cold start in the SRT. Now that we got it back here, my wife isn't driving it today, so I was able to go ahead and take it for a little drive, go get her some gas, and do this little vlog for you guys. So this is it. Like I said, it's pretty much stock, besides the X-pipe delete. Still has the stock axle backs and everything like that on it, so nothing too crazy. I was gonna go ahead and do a little cold start for you guys, see if y'all can maybe hear this. Like I said, I don't know how good the quality of this video is going to be, but we'll get something going here for a second. Alright guys, so let's get into the real estate portion of this. I'm gonna go ahead and just talk about this while we go get some gas for her. I don't know if you can see that with the glare or not, but it's pretty much all the way on E. Check engine lights for an oil pressure sensor. It actually reads fine, but something with these SRTs, I guess whenever it reaches a certain oil pressure, it throws this code and you can't get that taken off unless it's taken to the factory. So I didn't really feel like taking that in just for the check engine light that I knew what it was. Got it checked out by, my Edge will read them. I got them checked out by a local shop here in town. So anyway, so guys, what I'm basically going to be talking about here is how, like I mentioned in my last video, how I did not have to pay a single car payment from the time that I, basically 2 months before I graduated high school up until about a year ago. So about 3 or 4 years there where I didn't make a single car payment, and a lot of the times I had 2 cars. So I'll kind of explain that here for a second for you guys. Basically what I did was, it was called an owner finance. So I owner financed a home for a couple. Right out of high school, I saved up, basically I had a lot of money saved up. I worked all through high school. My dad was a farmer. He farmed about 5,200 acres, so there was always something to do. I was able to basically just get hours around my schedule, so that was really nice, and it was able to help me with saving up the money and things like that. I bought the first vehicle I bought half of it, basically. My parents split it with us, is what they did. I'm the oldest of 5 kids, so it's kind of a trial run deal, but what they did is they split half the vehicle for us and made us work for the other half of the payment in order to build our credit and little things like that, to help us kind of get a head start from everybody else. So I did that, paid my truck off. I had it on a 4-year note, paid it off in 2.5 years, going into high school, and then basically everything else, I just saved everything that I wasn't spending, and was pretty smart with my money there. And then by the time that I was about to graduate, I had about $10,000 saved up, and well, it was actually a little bit more than that, but it's about $10,000 saved up. And then what I was able to do, I was able to use that as a down payment on this home, and with that, I was able to buy the house. And then I found that couple that basically wanted me to owner finance it for them, which, if y'all don't know what owner financing means, it basically means that I carry the bank note on the home, but it's essentially their home. So they, if a water heater goes out, or a roof starts leaking or whatever, that's completely up to them. Their monthly payment that they pay me goes toward the principal, and then the rest is interest for me carrying the note. So ideally, we do we buy our home through the financing that we have there in our bank, and then we finance it through ourselves to the people that is buying the house. And so basically what your cash flow that you see there per month is the markup and interest. Basically, ideally, and then they actually make a down payment whenever they move in. So typically we ask for 1% down payment. So say if it's a $200,000 house, to move in, we'll owner finance it for, you guys, whatever. They have to pass a background screen and everything like that, little application, but we'll finance it for them. And so then we require the 1% down payment. So then we would get a down payment of $20,000, and then you would basically, you'd get to pocket any extra from what your down payment was, if there was any difference there, and then they would basically be living in the house and buying you a house with little to no money in it by the time the down payments are all said and done. So it's a pretty cool process. I bought one of them my senior year of high school, and we basically, I still have that same one. It's actually, they're on 5-year balloons, so at the end of the balloon, they have the option to buy the home from me and finance it under their name. So which in that case, they would buy it from me on what they still owe me for the house, and then whatever I owe the bank, any extra there would go straight into my pocket. So, just on that one house, I think it's, I don't even know what it is, upwards of $30,000 maybe, or something like that. That is the difference between my equity with the bank and their equity with me. So in 5 years, I made I think it cash flows about $320 a month or something like that. So in 5 years, make $320 a month, and then I just had my AC on the whole time. I hope that wasn't driving me all nuts. In 5 years, you get the cash flow of $320 per month every month, assuming they pay the rent. And then at the end of the 5 years, whenever the house sells, you get the big chunk of equity that hopefully you have built up in the home. A lot of the times, especially in this area, homes increase in value. They actually appraise, is what we call it. So a lot of the times you'll end up with a pretty good equity balloon there, to where you're able to make some money. The cash flow, $320 a month doesn't sound like a lot whenever you're talking about buying a home, but it's not short term. You're in it for the long game. And 5 years honestly isn't that much of a long game whenever you're looking at other investments, with stock markets and things like that. Some people hold their stock markets for 5, 10, 15 years, whatever it may be. So it's not super long, but it's something that it's local. Your money's always going to be invested in that house. Your money didn't go anywhere. It's basically like a savings account that's making you more money than a regular savings account would. So you look on, percents on your return on investment and things like that, and that's a whole nother video to get into, but just kind of touching briefly on that. So I was able to have one of those houses, and then about 2 years later, my mom had a house that she had for sale. She had about, I think, 30 or 35 properties, residential properties, and they started getting into commercial real estate. So they sold, they were kind of selling off their houses as their notes were coming up. And then this one in particular that I bought, the second one that I bought, it was my mom's house, and she had it for 7 years or something like that, and the tenants absolutely destroyed it, and then they just backed out. So whenever they back out like that, it's not necessarily a bad thing, because they lose all their equity with you. So basically, you just recollect the house in your possession, and I basically pocketed all that money that they paid you, and it was just a thrown away, almost like a rent for them, that they were not able to get back or anything like that, and they couldn't just buy the home because they just backed out and they trashed the place. So what I did is I went in, I told my mom, I was like, hey, what do you have in it? I'll buy it off you, redo it myself. I'll live in it for a little bit, maybe rent it out, get some people in there, and then I'll sell it whenever it comes time, or rent it out. So I did that, bought it, fixed it up, paid her what she wanted for it, and then I spent about $14,000 or $15,000 on renovations. Redid the whole interior, some exterior things like the soffits and the gutters, window frames and seals, some stuff like that. New garage doors and little stuff like that. And by the time it was all said and done, it was a really nice house. Actually lived in it for about 8 months, and had a few roommates, and I was actually able to have, I had 3 roommates. It was a 4-bedroom house, so I had 3 roommates. So those 3 roommates were able to pay me a set amount in rent, and then we just split bills. Well, their set amount of rent, they were covering their house payment through my bank, and I was making like $200 extra a month. So I was living there for free, and my roommates were buying me a house, and that $200 a month would cover my bills every month. So I didn't have any bills or any car payments, because I was, I had this other house that was making my car payments. This house was making the renter's payments from this house was making the monthly payment on the house and the bills and everything like that. So it was a really sweet deal, really worked out good, kind of helped me get a little head start without having as many bills. And it just really kind of set me up a little bit nicely for what that is. Now, I had those houses for a while. I had a lot of cars in that time. I wasn't exactly smart with the money that I had earned at the time. You know, I was 21 years old. And not that I didn't have any financial sense, but you know, whenever you work, and I didn't go to college, so whenever you're working and you have all you do is work, it's nice to kind of spend some money and have some fun with it. And I figured, you know, now's the time to do it if I'm able to afford it. With, you know, before I was married and bought a house with my wife and had 2 cars instead of just my truck, you know, I had to have her car that she daily drives and things like that. So a bunch of other stuff went into it, and so I was like, man, now's the time to do it. So that's whenever I did it. But it was good. So I hope that kind of answers y'all's question on the real estate stuff. If y'all have any questions or want me to go over any certain aspects of it in the next video or something like that, just leave a comment. I'll be more than happy to read over those and set up a future video with you guys if you guys have any questions or anything like that. We can kind of just take this where it goes. I'd like to start doing some more automotive stuff, just trying to get to where I have enough time for it. You know, I don't know if the truck is something y'all are interested in. Great, we can start building, or start playing with that a little bit more. If y'all like me, driving the SRT, I can definitely do the videos in there. Maybe do a few pulls and things like that. Have some fun with it. Pretty dirty right now, but a little detail, get that all freshened up. So yeah, guys, just kind of let me know where y'all want to be. I'll do my best to cater to you guys and try to get an audience built up to where we can really start having some fun on this channel. I'm pretty excited about starting this, and I know it's probably going to be a pretty long process at the beginning to get to where I would like to be with it, and like to be where we can have fun and do a lot of cool projects and things like that, like some of these other YouTube channels are doing, and just would really like to push for that. So, well, guys, all right, well, I'll see you for the next video. If y'all have any questions or have any topics you want me to cover over the next video, just let me know. I was thinking about doing some maybe film. I'm actually redoing a roof next week. May film some of that and let y'all kind of in on some of the things that I do for a living with my company, and some cool things like that, and just kind of give y'all some details and show y'all the process of everything, and make a short little video out of it, so y'all kind of just see what I do on a daily basis whenever I'm not out running errands and doing sales calls in my wife's vehicle. So anyway, all right, guys, we'll see you next time. So I just got finished watching the SRT. I was gonna film it, but there was actually a line behind me, so I didn't want them thinking that I was just taking my sweet time. Go ahead and let those guys wash their cars too on a Friday evening. But anyway, guys, I was just gonna kind of, oh, someone's over there doing a pool. I was just gonna kind of show you guys this real quick before finish this off. There's actually some cars coming, but yeah. So come to find out, and I didn't know this whenever I started, and it's not going to change anything, it's just a longer process, but in order to used to be able to monetize any video you wanted to on YouTube, as long as there wasn't any copyright issues or anything like that. So what we did was, I had a few videos on there and got monetized, never really amounted to anything. I already have about 100,000 views on the channel, which is pretty cool for not really trying, but anyway, yeah, it's just I found out on YouTube that you actually have to, now in order to monetize any video, you have to have 1,000 subscribers and a minimum of 4,000 hours watched on your channel. So that kind of toughens it up a little bit to get where we want to be. Like I said, it wasn't wouldn't have changed anything. It's not going to change anything now. It's just going to be a longer process to get to where we want to be, and when we are able to kind of have some fun with some projects and do things like that. My whole idea with the ad revenue or the monetization on YouTube is, I would like to throw all that money back into the channel and be able to have a build, and you guys ride along with me and kind of see what we can make of it. you know, with everything that's going on right now in my company and things like that, I don't just have a whole lot of extra cash just to throw at a toy. So, you know, with a little Celine Mustang, I would just like to, you know, I'd like to kind of do some fun stuff on this channel and let everybody kind of see it. You know, I've done a few builds in the past, like I mentioned in the last video, and now I just kind of want to record it and see where we go from there. I think it could be really fun, and we can do some really cool stuff. You know, but like this SRT, for example, has a little bit of a get up. It's not too bad. It's just, it's definitely stock. But, you know, it is what it is. Need to put a blower on it to waken it up. Need your guys' help with that. So yeah, let's just go with that, and we'll see where this adventure takes us, and maybe do some fun stuff with it.